Uh-oh, you thought you were done with me, but you're not. I get to roll right into my next activity. This is really weird. I've never done it back-to-back on this podium. I hopefully never will have to again. But we're going to roll right into the monthly Rotary Spotlight of the month. We're ready to do our September Spotlight. So, my fellow Rotarians and honored guests, you know, I first started delivering these Rotary Spotlights to myself when I first started this. I made a pledge. I was going to focus more on the individual as a person than on what they do for a living, you know. But for the Rotary Spotlight Member of the Month for September, I'm gonna have to make an exception. Her career is so fascinating, I just have to share it, and I hope you'll agree. Let me tell you. Our Rotary Spotlight Member of the Month for September 2022 is Mary Wagner, classification food and beverage. Thank you. Yeah. Mary is what we classify as an achiever level, as she's been a Seattle 4 Rotarian for less than 4 years. But hey, don't let that fact fool you. Although she's been a Rotarian for less than 5 years, her career has spanned decades and includes numerous industries. But first, let's get to the important information here. Let's see. Mary was, oh, look at that cute little thing. Mary was born in Duluth, Minnesota. She has an older brother named Bob and a younger sister named Liz. Mary's father, Art, worked as a casket salesman, a part-time mortician, and for as long as Mary could remember, she saw this as a dying industry. Rotarians step up, but it just takes them a little bit longer to catch a joke. Her mother, Marie, was a grade school teacher. Although she loved growing up in Minnesota, Duluth was tough, especially in the winters, where it could get as cold as 50 degrees below zero. 50 degrees below zero. But the good news is that was rare. Most of the time in the winter, it was a balmy 25 degrees below zero. In high school, Mary, she excelled, in science, other fields, but she was even the captain of the cheerleading squad. It was a little different in Duluth because the cheerleaders cheered on ice skates. That's because everything was freaking frozen in Duluth. But it was a very different world. After high school, Mary decided she wanted to change a venue for college. She decided she wanted to go to school far away. So she packed her bags and she moved all the way to Iowa State to attend college. She excelled and graduated with a degree in bacteriology. One professor was so impressed, he offered her a job if she would stay and pursue her master's. So Mary stayed, got her master's in food technology. Now, at this point, I had to ask Mary, why food technology? Well, Mary said, it involves all the senses. It even brings in some marketing. It engaged all levels of Mary's mind. Now she combined science with the ability to connect with people. She was so engaged, she made the decision to move back to Minneapolis to get a PhD in food science at the University of Minnesota. That took another 4 years, all told. Mary has spent 10 years in academia studying the science of food. Now, Mary was a professor in her first job after college, but it was not long before she was snatched up by General Mills in what was to become a long and rewarding relationship. First, Mary put on her little white lab coat, went to work in the quality division. Her job was to create a biotech program by growing protein from mushrooms in liquid culture. Then they would later transfer that into cereals and cookies. Didn't you ever wonder where that protein content came from in the side label? You think there was actually protein that came from cereal and cookies? They injected that. Next, she moved up to the hamburger helper and tuna helper division. That product was successful, but now they wanted Mary and her team to come up with additional product extensions, and they did. Many very successful ones, including the highly successful hamburger lasagna. Now, you've really made it at General Mills when they moved you up to the next division. Mary was moved up to lead the product development for Betty Crocker desserts. This was the era of the light dessert. Mary led the charge to meet this demand, but her greatest success was through the creation of the party cakes. They weren't light, no. But they had sprinkles, and America loved the sprinkles. And now came a pivotal point in Mary's life. General Mills sent her to Harvard for an accelerated MBA program. And when she returned, she was put in charge of a new internal business-to-business unit within General Mills that sold analytical services within General Mills, as well as to outside businesses, including competitors. The scientist was now becoming a business leader as well. Now, Mary had been working very hard, and she'd been very focused on her work. It was time to focus on her personal life. And this is 1991. The internet, well, dating sites, they were just a thought in many startups' minds, but there was video dating services, such as, remember Great Expectations? They used a highly sophisticated algorithm to match signals. Yeah, remember? Seriously, you had to watch VHS tapes and things. Well, this is 1991, and Mary gave it a shot. She was matched up with a guy named Richard, who was working in marketing at an insurance company. Well, the algorithm worked. They clicked. But unfortunately, Mary got transferred to the Gorton's Fish Division in Boston to head up both product development and quality control. But that didn't stop Richard or the romance. He proposed, they got married, and this year they will celebrate 30 years of marriage. Wow. For the first 2 years of the marriage, Richard lived in Minnesota and commuted to Boston every other week, and Mary spent 5 years at Gorton's, implementing many successful programs and growing the customer base, which with such customers as McDonald's, the fish fillet sandwich, to say the least. Ooh. Then she got recruited to Taco Bell, seen here with her new best bud. Yes, Yo quiero Taco Bell, that's him, yeah. Her new best bud. That led them both to LA. Now, Mary had just started at Taco Bell when she got word from the adoption agency in Boston. They had been approved to adopt a 1-year-old baby girl from China that they named Nora. Today, Nora is 24 years old. She works in West Hollywood for PR in a talent agency. At Taco Bell, well, Mary created the chalupa, the grilled stuffed burrito. She handled all the crisis management for Taco Bell's corn GMO challenge, which we won't go into today, not over lunch, no. Next came recruitment to Gallo Wines in Modesto. And just like Taco Bell, a new job means approval for a new adoption. The family welcomed another 1-year-old baby from China they named Emma. And today Emma is 20 years old, attending college at Western Washington University. Now, Gallo was Mary's first experience with a private company, and she loved it. She learned to understand the market and the customer base better to meet their needs with the right wines. Styling wines was the most flexible product line she'd worked with. And after 7 years, Mary left to work for Frank Mars at Mars Candy. She was hired as the chief scientist and general manager to create a healthy cocoa supplement line of products. Healthy cocoa supplements keep your arteries flexible. I didn't know that. Her job was to isolate those cocoa, I believe it's pronounced flavonols, so they could be incorporated into not only human products, but pet foods as well. Didn't know that about Mars, did you? Well, in 2010, she met a man by the name of Howard Schultz, approached her and offered her the global R&D quality job for Starbucks. Wow. It's an opportunity you don't say no to. So the family stayed on the East Coast for the girls' school, and Mary commuted to Seattle for the next 5 years. And during this time, she delved into the coffee business, learning everything from sorting beans to contributing to many innovations, changing the cup to make it more recyclable. She created the Nitro Cold Brew, the Cake Pops, and my greatest favorite, Egg Bites. I love the Egg Bites. Oh my God, that was a great one, and many, many more. In 2015, when Nora went off to college, Richard and Emma joined Mary in Seattle, and the family settled on Mercer Island. In 2018, Mary decided it was time to retire from full-time and spend more time with Richard and Emma. It was also in 2018 that two of her friends, Lauren Domino and Jerry Lynn Brousseau, introduced and sponsored her into Rotary. Oh, Mary has been very active with our scholarship committee. She really enjoys going to the membership engagement activities. And Mary is also an active board member with a number of firms, such as Blue Nalu, a seafood growth company from Cell Cultures, Premium Brands Holding Company, investment company acquiring and building food businesses, Skagit Valley Malting, malts and hops for the craft brewing and sports industries, and Griffith Foods, a company that delves and delivers innovative seasoning blends to many companies. Looks like she's putting her experience to work. Today, Mary's impact and legacy in business is only overshadowed by her greatest and most valued life impact, her family, Richard and the girls. As you can see, Mary Wagner is not someone who can be described by a particular industry background, as she has worked in so many different ones. But what she will tell you is constant across all of her industries is food science. That is why Mary made the career decision she did back in college. Fellow Rotarians, I give you our Rotary Spotlight Member of the Month for September. Mary, please stand. Mary Wagner, classification, food and beverage.
Thank you, John, for that fantastic member spotlight. Mary, you are an inspiration, and we're so grateful to have you as a member of Seattle Rotary. John and Nicole, you both are great examples of Rotarians stepping up. Thank you for your leadership as well. I also want to recognize those who have responded to my email message requesting volunteers to monitor our online portion of our weekly meetings. Rotary meetings have many moving parts, as you might imagine, and introducing the Zoom component back in 2020 added to the complexity. Having one or two people